now, let's talk about protected income value and creating a personal pension plan. And then we will talk about uninterrupted compounding interest and leverage. All right, so a lot more to talk about. Now, let's talk about indexed growth and income. So, in our previous conversation during the growth phase, we talked about what we call the indexed growth phase. Now, here's the cool part. When it comes time to retire during our distribution phase or our income phase, we don't need to go into a fixed account. Because if we can get double-digit returns and be guaranteed to never lose, then we could still have our money in that indexed strategy, and we could spend money in retirement like the 4% rule. But the difference between this and the 4% rule is that your money is going to earn a better rate of return than the bonds, which is going to give you a 2x income during retirement. Now, yes, I know I promised 3x. I will show you the 3x next, but I first want to show you the 2x. Let's take a look at an example of how this would work. Okay, so in this report, I am showing you how this indexed annuity is what it's called. I know an annuity is a swear word to a lot of people because they don't understand how they work, and they have changed a lot over the years. This is an indexed annuity, no fees, guaranteed to never lose, and you can still get double-digit returns. Great vehicle for that distribution phase or that income phase and the growth phase. So here we have a 50-year-old with $180,000. And by the way, I'm comparing this with a steady 7% return, the last 20 years of the S&P 500, and an unfavorable 7%. So it's kind of a starting out. If you start out with some crappy years, but you still average 7%, but you start out with some crappy years, that's what the purple is. Then we have the S&P in the blue, and then we have just a fictitious 7% steady fixed return. This is our fixed return, but I don't know where you're going to get a guaranteed 7%. This is just to show you how this compares, okay? So we grow our money. We go from $180,000 and we grow our money to the point where we start to withdraw the money. Just like the 4% rule, we are withdrawing the money. Now, if we withdraw the money, look at how much we can get. That's almost 2x the income over a 4% rule, because if we had $500,000 in a traditional stock market scenario, we would only be able to live on about 4%, which would be $20,000 a year. We're getting $40,000 a year because of the rate of return and no losses, right? So now let's kind of fast forward. Let's scroll down a little bit. And we can see what's happening with these other accounts. These other accounts are not sticking to the 4% rule. They're trying to keep up with the $40,000, and they're running out of money. That's why they invented the 4% rule. You can see what's happening over here. But our income from our annuity, our indexed annuity, is still staying strong. Now, we're not keeping up with inflation. We don't have a lot of other benefits that we're going to talk about in a minute, but our account is staying pretty steady. So that means that when we pass away, we leave our family this money here. Yes, you don't lose all the money. Years ago, in the first annuities that came out, if you died, then the insurance company got to keep all your money. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about taking money out of your account to live on, and you still get to leave all your money to your kids. Just like the 4% rule, but better, all right? 2x on your money, okay? Pretty cool, huh? Now, this is a great example of if you just want to grow your money, but maybe you don't even need an income. I know that when my mom received her life insurance from when my dad died, she didn't need income from that money because she has her real estate income. So she used this particular product to grow her money because more than likely she's not going to need it. But she has her money where it's safe, guaranteed to never lose, and can still get double-digit returns. And then if she dies, that money passes to the kids. Okay? So you don't have to draw an income. The income is optional. It's just a good, safe way to grow your money. But as a distribution phase, it's a great way to double your retirement income. Okay, now I promised 3 times your income in retirement, so let's step it up a notch, okay? Let's talk about what we call the protected income value. So what I just showed you was an indexed return that might look something like this. Now, this next strategy that I'm going to show you to 3x your income is where you can choose to have your account value grow a lot slower with a lower rate of return in exchange for what we call your protected income value to grow much higher. Okay? You're going to get a much better rate of return, but only on what we call the protected income value. It's almost like monopoly money. It's just a number that is used to calculate your income in the future. This particular strategy has what we call an income rider. What that means is when it's time to retire, let's say that you could retire on 4% based on the age, okay? It's 4% of what? It's not 4% of this number, nope. It's 4% of this number, not 4% of this number, okay? This number doesn't even exist. That was the last product. Now we're talking about a lower account value for a higher protected income value, which gives you a higher income in retirement. Like we're talking way higher, from like here to here, way higher income in retirement, way more than 3x your income. Because now your income is off of this high protected income value number. And here's the best part. Every year that the market gives you a positive return, your income goes up. That's right, your income goes up. It keeps up with inflation and then some. In fact, your income goes up so much that the downside is that your account value drops to 0 pretty fast if you live long enough. Here's the other cool part. The income is for life. So when you run out of money, guess what happens to your income? It's like a personal pension, okay? You've got, again, let's just recap. We're going to take a slower, lower rate of return on our account value in exchange for this ridiculously high rate of return on our protected income value, okay? And then we're going to get a personal pension in the sense that we get a guaranteed, when we decide to retire, we get a guaranteed income for your life and your spouse's life if you choose so, okay? Then when you run out of money, your income continues. What's the drawback? Sounds too good to be true? Well, your family might not get anything when you die. However, your income is going to be so much higher than any other option I've ever seen that you could take that extra income and invest it in some real estate, some stocks, or something else to leave, or even life insurance, something to leave to your family as an inheritance. Okay? So that's what we call protected income value and creating what we call a personal pension. Here's the other thing, is if you decide to cancel this account over here, if you cancel your account, this is the number you walk away from. So the insurance companies are using this as like a golden handcuffs. They know that you're never going to want to walk away from this plan, or you're going to walk away with a small amount of money and you're going to give up this huge protected income value. This is really powerful from an income standpoint. In fact, let's take a closer look at how these numbers work, okay? Okay, so here's an example of $130,000 that we're going to move into this indexed annuity that has this protected income value and income rider. By the way, also zero fees, just like the last one, zero fees. If you've ever heard that annuities are really expensive, they're probably talking about variable annuities. The indexed annuities I'm showing you, zero fees. Now, we've got our cash account. So we've got two buckets. Remember, we have the two lines. We have our cash account, or our lower number, that is really small rate of returns. So our account is growing very slow. The actual account is growing very slow. However, in exchange for these ridiculously high rate of returns with no losses for your protected income value to go from $130,000 to $1 million by age 64, 65 down here, okay? That's some pretty fast growth on your money. Plug that into your Rule of 72 calculator or your compound interest calculator. Try to figure out what kind of a rate of return would you have to earn to grow $130,000 to $1 million. Now, it's only on the protected income value, which is used to calculate your income. Now, they also give you a 25% bonus, which is going to change based on when you're watching this video. These bonuses change all the time. But you could get a bonus when you move the money. So you take your money from your old 401k, you move it into this, and you get a 25% bonus right off the bat. So your $130,000 jumps up to $184,000 right off the bat. Pretty cool, huh? Right? Now, let's look at the income. Let's scroll down and look at the income. We are able to get 4% to start off with, 4% on our $1 million. Our monopoly money, our protected income value, not over here. It's not 4% of $187. No, it's 4% of the big number, okay? Which is, again, this number is only used to calculate your initial income. And then look at the growth of your income in retirement. I challenge you to find any other strategy out there that will give you a greater income in retirement than that. That is way more than 3x. Way more than 3x your income in retirement. The downside is you run out of money pretty quick. After a few years, you run out of money. Now, if you died prematurely before you started to take an income, there is a death benefit that goes to the kids. You're not sacrificing your money. But if you spend the money in retirement, you're going to give up your money pretty fast. Your money is going to go to zero pretty fast, okay? So you're going to have to take some of that income to invest in some stocks or some real estate or some life insurance or something like that to leave to your kids, okay? Because your kids aren't going to get anything out of this one. But if it's an IRA, the government's going to make you spend it anyway, right? So this is a great vehicle to give you maximum income in retirement. Okay, so let's look at some pros and cons. Definitely triple the retirement income on that last example that I showed you. Guaranteed lifetime income. You can't outlive it. Guaranteed lifetime income. Lifetime income for your spouse if you choose. Increasing income to keep up with inflation. So you've got inflation protection. You've got double-digit index returns without stock market losses. Huge benefits there. Tax-deferred growth on the money, even if it's qualified money. If you received an inheritance and you have this non-qualified inheritance money, you could take that inheritance, put it into something like this, and it'll grow tax-deferred. No tax consequences if you want to move money over into something like this. If you have a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, an old 401k, and you want to move that old 401k over to here, there's no tax consequences. It stays an IRA. You're going from an IRA to an IRA indexed annuity. You don't lose anything. You don't have any tax consequences. Mortality credits. How in the world can the insurance companies provide that kind of an income? It's what we call mortality credits. They know that some people are going to die early, some people are going to live long. That's one advantage that Wall Street doesn't have. Wall Street doesn't have the advantage of some people dying earlier and some people living longer. These insurance companies sell annuities and life insurance, and they're banking on when people are going to die. You can benefit from that in these types of products. And in most cases, there's no fees. Now, it depends on which product. There's lots of products out there, but the ones that I was showing you, no fees. Okay? Now, what are some of the cons? Well, the account value could be zero. Once you start turning on the income, your income or your account could go to zero. That means no inheritance for the kids. However, if your income is that much higher, you could, of course, either live high on the hog in retirement, travel the world, and leave the kids something else, or you could take some of that money to invest it in something that you want to leave to the kids. It also is for a lump sum. This is not for monthly savings. You can't save $500 a month into one of these plans. You have to have a minimum of $20,000. This is designed to move money from A to B. You're moving money from where it's at to here, and that's what these products are designed for. It's not for annual savings. You can't just save monthly into one of these plans, okay? All right, now, we've talked about real estate. We've talked about protected income value to triple your retirement income and this concept of the personal pension. And now let's talk about uninterrupted compounding interest and leverage, our third and final strategy to triple your retirement income.